Wistoria, Wand and Sword, Episode 1. This is a story about magic. At the prestigious regarded Magic Academy, your talent for magic matters more than anything. The protagonist of this story is Will, and in a world where respect and esteem can be only gained through your mastery of magic, Will has no aptitude for it at all, like not even a little bit. He can't even conjure up a drop of magic. So even though he's incredible with his sword, and is an honor student when it comes to his studies, since he can't use magic, he's alienated and often teased. Xian, on the other hand, is great at using magic, and he takes every chance he gets to show off his skills and make Will look like a laughing stock. Even Professor Edwards is disgusted that a non-magic user walks the halls of their prestigious magical institute, so he also bullies Will and tries to put enough pressure on the young boy for him to drop out of Regarding. Will's only friend Colette is always coming to his aid, defending him from his bullies. She sees Will for who he really is, a very kind-hearted and hard-working boy. And to Will, even though he's picked on all the time, he still feels like a lucky guy to have such a beautiful girl worrying about him. Colette is the daughter of a noble family, so she always tries to remain measured and cool-headed. But Will's very direct compliments of her being so beautiful makes it really hard for her to maintain her composure at times. Will's dream is to become a Magia Vander, which are the strongest sorcerers in the world. They live at the top of a giant tower in the center of their society. Long ago, people knew nothing about the sky. They lived in darkness and were terrorized by these creatures known as celestial hosts. But five very powerful wizards stood up to these celestial hosts. By combining their power, they were able to defeat these invaders. They put a seal on the sky and continue to uphold the sky to this day. They brought peace to the world. These five wizards were the first Magia Vanders. Everyone in Regarding Academy dream is to also become a Magia Vander and live at the top of the tower. When Will was a kid, his best friend Elfie told him that there's a sun and moon floating up there in the real sky, and when the sun sets, it turns everything around it red and is one of the loveliest sights in the world to see. They make a promise to each other to one day become Magia Vanders, make it to the top of the tower, and watch the sun set together in the real sky. Turns out Elfie ended up being the real thing. She rose through the rankings very fast and became the youngest Magia Vander in recorded history, and is now known as the Ice Maiden. On the other hand, Will is a complete failure, seemingly holding on to an unrealistic dream to stand by Elfie's side at the top. I mean, to advance in a magic school, you need to excel in magic, but becoming a Magia Vander should be the last thing on his mind, because if you don't get enough credits in this school, you get expelled, and he only has 2 more days to get 4 credits to stay enrolled in this magic school. The only professor that believes in him is Professor Werkner. He told Will that there's rumors of a Baskerville monster lurking around on the 6th floor in the dungeon. If he manages to slay it, he'll gain the 4 credits he needs. Xian overheard this and wanted nothing more than Will to get expelled, so he took his friends to the 6th floor to slay the monster before Will got the chance to. The dungeon itself is extremely dangerous and unpredictable, which is why students aren't permitted to go in the dungeon without permission. On the 6th floor, as they were getting their game plan together on how to track down the Baskerville, they were attacked from behind by a far stronger monster that should actually only exist way deeper down in the dungeon. This monster is a evil sentinel, and it instantly killed one of Xian's friends. Will heard screams and took off to rescue whoever was also on the 6th floor and being attacked. When he seen it was his bully Xian, he hesitated and thought for a minute. He wasn't obligated to save him. He could just run away and let Xian die. After all, how Xian treated him over the years, he would deserve the brutal death the evil sentinel would give him. But remembering his best friend's words, how she believed in him and knew he was kinder and a harder worker than anyone else, he remembered the only way to keep his dream alive is if he were to kill this sentinel. Now back at the school, Professor Edward urged Professor Werkner to use his familiar to find Xian and his friends. Edwards was panicking. After getting word, they went in the dungeon by themselves. But after Edwards told Werkner they were on the 6th floor, Werkner let out a sigh of relief and let Edwards know they had nothing to worry about because Will was also on the 6th floor. Werkner used his crystal ball to connect to the diamond on Kiki's head. Kiki is Will's cat familiar, and the 2 professors watch Will do what Will does best. He may be trash when it comes to magic, but he excels when it comes to combat. Will is insanely strong. He easily chopped the Sentinel's hand off, and he's also too fast for the Sentinel to keep up with. Xian only seen Will in school where Will is out of his element, but seeing Will inside of his element fighting, he cannot believe this is the same Will that he bullies on a day-to-day basis. Will possesses superhuman strength that mages would never possess. He has a physique as robust as a dwarf's, a very high fight IQ, and observational skills to be able to grasp an enemy's strategy after seeing them just once. In the world of magic, he is the only warrior. With his sword, he can not only deflect magic, but his slashes surpasses even lightning. Will can't use magic, but honing the skills of what he is good at, he's surpassed magic. Xian is beyond angry that he had to be saved by such a loser, and Professor Edwards refuses to accept or acknowledge Will's skills. Both Professor Edwards and Xian, like most of the magic community, are extremely close-minded. On the other hand, Will received 10 credits for slaying an evil sentinel. This anime is called Wistoria Wand and Sword, and by the end of this episode, we see that Elfie is the wand and Will is the sword. This was an amazing first episode. I love the art style, the dynamic camera angles, and the animation is superb. This anime is definitely worth a watch. Like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.